guys, and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to do a massive book unhaul. Every once in a while I like to go through my book collection and get rid of some books that I don't like anymore and that I don't want to read anymore. And it has been a couple of months since I did my last unhaul, so I thought it was time for another one. I love to organize my book collection. I love to have only books that I really like, and I don't want to have too many books taking up space that I just don't like anymore. So I'm getting rid of a lot of books today. So yeah, let's just get started with this video. Also, I'm probably going to sell these books to a secondhand bookstore, and otherwise I will just give them to friends or family who want them. In any case, I will make sure that all these books will have a new home. So let's just start with the most shocking part of this unhaul, and that is that I'm getting rid of all my Sarah J Maas books. So that is, first of all, Throne of Glass and Crown of Midnight, the first two books in the Throne of Glass series. I did not enjoy this series whatsoever. I just was not invested in this world, and I have no plans on continuing this series. And of course, I'm also getting rid of the entire A Court of Thorns and Roses series. And this series I really hate. And I've talked about this before many times. Please go and watch my review about A Court of Wings and Ruin, or you can watch my video about popular books that I don't like. I will put links to those videos down below in the description box. But in those videos I explain more about why I don't like Sarah J Maas, why I don't like her books. But basically it just all comes down to that I don't like her writing. I think it's way too dramatic and way too cliche, and I also really don't like all her characters. She just writes the same male and female characters over and over again, and they are so unlikable in my opinion. So yeah, it is time to get rid of these books. They take up way too much space on my bookshelves. I don't like them anymore. I'm never going to read them again, that's for sure. So hopefully all of these books will go to someone who will enjoy them. The next book I don't want anymore is Holding Up the Universe by Jennifer Niven. I had bought this book initially because I really liked All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven. And Holding Up the Universe is about a girl who has been massively overweight and still is overweight and has to struggle with that, and about a boy who struggles with face blindness but keeps it a secret. So the premise sounded very interesting and very promising, but unfortunately this book fell completely flat. I found it so boring and I just had no investment in the story whatsoever. I can barely tell you what happens because in my opinion not that much happens in this book. It's very cliche, very forgettable, and yeah, that's why I don't want this book anymore. The next book I'm getting rid of is Beautiful Broken Things by Sarah Bernard. This book is about a girl named Caddy who has a very best friend, but then her best friend gets a new friend, and yeah, it's all about friendship and stuff like that. I really hated this book because the main character Caddy is the worst main character ever. She literally says that she wants to have an interesting life event. And in her opinion, an interesting life event is something very bad happening to you. So without kidding, she is jealous of her best friend because her best friend had a baby sister who died. And she is jealous of her older sister because her older sister is bipolar. If you're getting jealous with people because they have bad things happening to them and because that makes their life more interesting somehow, then you completely lose me because I can feel no sympathy for a main character like that. And that is basically why I hated this book and why I don't want it anymore. The only reason why I kept it so long is because the cover is absolutely stunning, and I am a sucker for beautiful covers, but I hate the story more than I love the cover. The next book is These Shallow Graves by Jennifer Donnelly. And this is another book that I really hate. It's about a girl named Josephine Montfort who comes from a very wealthy family in New York in the 19th century. And when her father is murdered, she goes to investigate his murder because she doesn't trust like the police. I hated this because this is one of those historical fiction novels who tries to fix history. With that I mean that this Josephine is like a modern day girl with modern day values, who hates everything in her own time period, who hates everyone in her own time period, who thinks she can do better than everyone, and who is supposed to be a feminist. But of course, she's not that special. I absolutely hated her, and I don't like when characters think that they are better than everyone. And I also hate how they completely disrespect the historical time period. I take my historical things very seriously, as you all know. So yeah, this book has to go. I really did not like it. And then the next book is another shocking one, I think, and it is The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. This is actually the Dutch movie tie-in edition. It's about a young German girl who comes to live with a foster family during World War II, and there she learns to read and she starts to appreciate books and also starts to steal books to preserve them. Now, I did not hate this book, I did not dislike it, but I just wasn't that impressed with it as some other people are. I know for some people it's their all-time favorite book and they love it so much, but I just felt a bit meh about it and I cannot really explain why. I think it was because I don't really like the narrating style of this book. I know some people just loved that, but I didn't really like it all that much. So yeah, I think someone else will be way more happy with this book than I am right now. I also have some chick lit that I'm getting rid of. The first of that is Revenge Wears Prada by Lauren Weisberger. And this is actually again the Dutch edition. It is the sequel to the best-selling novel The Devil Wears Prada. You've probably heard of it because it has this really cool movie with Meryl Streep and Anne Hathaway. And this is the sequel to that, but unfortunately, it's a little bit boring, it's nothing special, and sometimes the story got really weird. I just don't have any feelings towards this story. I like the original novel way better, so yeah, that's why this book is also going away. And then the next chick lit is The 1+1 by Jojo Moyes. It tells the story of a single mother who has to drive her kids to a special math competition, but then their car gives down and then they get a ride from a very handsome man. Again, there's nothing wrong with this book, it's just nothing very special. I don't read that much chick lit anymore and I've read this book once, but I don't think I'm going to ever read it again. It's a nice story, it's okay, it's basically like every other chick lit. The story is also very predictable. I don't need it anymore and that's why it's going away. And then the next book is After You, also by Jojo Moyes. This is the sequel to Me Before You that nobody asked for and nobody needed. I really like Me Before You, so I'm keeping that book, but this sequel just doesn't feel like it's necessary at all. I liked how Me Before You ended and then this book throws it all away again and it's a little bit weird and it just didn't feel like the original story had to continue. So After You was pretty boring and again nothing special and I actually didn't enjoy it that much. So I'm also getting rid of this one. And then I have another popular one and that is One Day by David Nichols. It's about two people, Emma and Dexter, and we follow their lives on one day in the year for like 20 years. I like the premise of the story and I like the first quarter of the book, but then it just got really weird and really boring and I couldn't get through it anymore. And then it also got a bit depressing and I just didn't want to finish it actually, but I managed in the end. But if you struggle so much to get through a book, it's not the book for you and that's why I'm going to give it away, sell it, whatever. For me personally, I just don't get the hype around this book. I didn't like it at all, actually. And then I have The Glittering Court by Richelle Mead. This was the book that was in the second Fairy Loot box ever. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely love Fairy Loot and I think their boxes are amazing. But the second box that they ever did was just terrible, I'm sorry. Because I hated this book like I've never hated a book before. I actually didn't finish it. I got halfway through, but it was so ridiculous and so bad that I just could not finish it. It's about a very rich countess who doesn't want to get into arranged marriage. So she goes to this place called the Glittering Court where girls are trained to get into an arranged marriage. Where is the logic in that story? Please tell me. It made me laugh for a little bit, but it's not supposed to make you laugh. It's supposed to be very serious and it's absolutely horrible. Again, I kept it for so long because it has a nice cover and it's a beautiful hardback, but it has to go because it's so terrible. I just don't want to have it on my shelves anymore. And then the last book, I'm like 80% sure I'm getting rid of it, but I might change my mind, but that is Everything by Nicola Yoon. I bought this because I really enjoyed The Sun is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon, and that doesn't happen very often with me with contemporary, so I really wanted to read her other work, but unfortunately Everything is very disappointing. It is just a little bit boring, a little bit cliche. I mean, it's enjoyable enough, I guess, but I really hated the ending. You've probably heard about the discussions that are going around about the ending of this book, and if you want to know more about it, I suggest you go to its Goodreads page and then you get a lot of information about that. I think the ending really ruined the book and it wasn't very special to begin with, but my edition is still in very good condition, so I probably can sell it and Like, someone again is probably way more happy with it than I am. And this was it for my massive book unhaul. I'm actually so happy to be getting rid of all of these books and making more space on my bookshelves. Life's too short to own books that you don't like, so yeah. Again, I'm going to find a better home for all of them. And then this was it for this video. If you like this video, please go subscribe or give it a thumbs up because I would really appreciate that. And then hopefully I will see you again in my next video. Bye!